Okay, there we go. That's the right one. Hello, hello, hello. Oh yes, oh yes. Here we are. My tribute to Ivan on Tech. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes.
That's the spirit.
Yes, and why? Well, because and we haven't talked since we did the PulseX conference, and we did that meditation, and we did the panel too. But um, and hello to everybody. Nice to meet y'all. Here with Daniel at Joyful Danish, Free Brandon 7. Uh, so, man, that ended up blowing up a little bit. That was kind of funny. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
mainly by Ivan on Tech.
Ivan on Tech. Yeah, and I looked because every now and then I see his videos, but he has like 500,000 followers. So that was pretty crazy, and I thought that was kind of fun too. And we were talking beforehand, Daniel, about my favorite part of it is your commitment, your dedication to being in the moment with the meditation. Uh, it was it was great, and it's so funny to me because um, people all thought you were praying for our bags to pump. That's the best part. Is that this is you were just deep in prayer. It's like, yes, please. Crypto gods, please answer our prayers. What did you think about that? What
The
was your thought?
meditation. I mean, it was good. There's a saying, right? Like, any engagement is better than no engagement, right? And
Yeah,
I think, in particular, this case, yeah, because
for
it
sure.
was in a good intention, and sure, people can always think about it in other ways, but I
Yeah,
mean, at least that they get the topic in their mind, and that's a start, because again, this
yeah,
whole health aspect in crypto, it's not really that much paying attention to, and that's
yeah,
kind of what we're also trying to change, for the better.
yeah.
So yeah, I
Absolutely.
kind of liked it. Yeah, and it was a meditation. If you guys wanted to see it, I think you can see it on Free Brandon 7 on X or on
Mhm.
his YouTube channel. You uploaded it
Right.
afterwards separately. That meditation, correct?
Yeah, it's on there. I put it on my YouTube channel, and it's on my X too. Yeah, and also you have to mention, if you want to know how to meditate the right way, just watch how Daniel is has his eyes closed and he's in the moment and he's breathing and he's doing it perfectly. So maybe he's sleeping. I don't think so, but um, yeah, that was a lot of fun. It's interesting too is the focus on how it was like we're praying for our bags and it missed the whole point, which kind of sucks. I mean, I'm glad people are having fun. I'm glad it's out
Right.
there. I'm glad I got it reposted and everything. But it missed the idea that the meditation wasn't about for our bags. It was for us basically being centered through the ups and down volatility in crypto and reminding ourselves of the power and value in decentralized cryptocurrency, as obviously, especially Pulse Chain. That's what it was about. So it wasn't really about us, praying to the crypto gods. But that's what I thought that was interesting that that was the focus of it, which I understand. I mean, it does look like we're praying for crypto to go up.
Yeah,
um,
it kind of does. I just put it in the comment sections as well if people want to see it, because I mean there were actually quite a lot seeing it. I mean,
yeah,
I think I can see here, for example, because somebody screenshotted me then doing that meditation, and that got like
yeah,
over 6,000 views, that alone, and 18
yeah,
comments and so on. So, and your meditation also got pretty much yeah, 53,000
mhm,
views just on Twitter alone.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean it's a start.
yeah, yeah. No, it was super fun. Well, it brought a lot of eyeballs to Pulse Chain, which was
Yeah.
I like that because it shows the community is so diverse in what we do. I don't
Mm.
think there's any other crypto blockchain communities where people are doing meditations and focusing on the valuable aspects of their cryptocurrency. So
Mm.
it's pretty unique what we have, and
Yeah.
it's cool to put that out there. And I know we look ridiculous. We look silly and ridiculous, and I could see, like, a lot of the comments, which actually just made me laugh, you know?
Yeah.
They're like, "What the hell is this?" Like, "This guy's trying to take my soul."
Yeah. Yeah.
Stuff like
Yeah. Yeah, even Ivan on Tech comment actually, because of course I had to answer something. I think I
Yeah.
answered with a meme, like as a thanks for the thoughts, and then the guy, the farmer, it ain't
Mhm.
much, but it's honest work.
That's right. That's right.
That's what I posted. Then he laughed with that one. But I mean, he's
Amazing.
just trying to of course also spread the message, on his own way. So yeah, it's all
Yeah,
good.
for sure, for sure.
And that's
Yeah,
kind of part of the whole crypto yeah, sense, the lingo and the whole shebang. Yeah.
yeah. Well,
So
we'll have to do another one. I believe there's gonna be a Hex conference, right?
oh yeah, eventually, yeah.
I think, RH Max has, a Hex week or something, Hex conference, something
No,
like.
yeah, but wasn't that YouTube interviews and stuff like that?
Oh,
Or
okay,
was
I
that
don't
an
know.
actual conference? Ah, well,
I
maybe.
I don't know, I'll have to see. I thought it was
Okay,
something
okay.
like that, but, either way, though, I think, more meditations are in order. So, yeah,
Right.
that, I think that's a unique thing, for people to see, but I'll have to make a better, background, with, I'll have some green candles, maybe
Mm. Oh yeah.
light the green candles or something, and
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, because you did had some candles in the video,
I
but they were
did.
not green. They were a
Not
little bit
green.
more orange,
I
red.
tried, yeah, it was setting the mood, you know?
Yeah, yeah. No,
Uh,
it was good. Yeah, it was a
yeah,
good conference, and it was funny actually. Richard Hart retweeted the conference when we were live,
yeah,
so that definitely gave a boost. So
Richard
that was
Hart
nice.
did. Yeah, also too, Sami, he actually commented on he put the video up a couple times
Okay.
on his videos too. So that was cool to see, and it's encouraging because we were talking before. You and I, we're just out here. We're doing it for free. We're putting out helpful information, also trying to have fun too. Um, but to just use our own time, do this, and then have people appreciate it and have fun with it, or get some utility out of it is great. No, that's like an extra bonus. So yeah, super cool, man.
Yeah, it
Uh,
was nice to join. Yeah, and participate,
yeah.
support the network. Yeah,
Hmm.
and also just generally spread more awareness about this field. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Let's see here. We talked a lot too in the conference. I just remember this in the panel about um, being being in places like the beach. Like centering places. And I forget there were some other places too, but we did talk about that and how that's helpful in I think reminding us, like you often say, stay human in crypto, right? So that
Right.
was cool to kind of to do that too. Um, Now, to you mentioned you wanted to talk about crypto, and I think you're thinking about the easy way and the hard way to do crypto, right? So tell me more about that stuff.
Yeah, as I call it, the easy mode and the hard mode, because you can see it, of course, in a more traditional sense, as your nervous system, as your body's communication highway. It helps you to sense the world and responds to it, and it keeps your body balanced.
Hmm.
From your heartbeat to your emotions, it runs in the background like a super smart autopilot, adjusting things without you needing to think about them. And it has two key branches: sympathetic and parasympathetic. So
Yeah,
sympathetic is the speeding things up, alarming, action mode, fight or flight or freeze mode, It prepares your body to act fast when it needs to. And parasympathetic is the opposite, slowing things down, calming
yes,
down. Is the calm and digest system, restoring. So it helps your body repair itself. And they work together to help you survive and recover and thrive,
right,
like
right.
night and day. And both have this purpose and function. But in order to spice a little bit up, I usually call it easy mode and hard mode, because this is much more physically, language wise, presented. Easy mode and hard mode, I usually work like this in my sessions, that I work from a physical aspect, psychological, and behavioral aspect.
Hmm.
And that can be an easy mode on all these three levels, but I can also be a hard mode on all these levels.
Hmm.
So, for
Now,
example, when you see,
and when
yeah,
you say the
go on.
easy mode, the easy mode, you mean the parasympathetic state, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just so everyone
So,
understands that that's the easy mode because that's when you're
yeah.
calm, you're more centered, and you're in your wise mind, so to speak.
Yes. So, for example, if we had to come with, like, what can you say, uh, as a of these three different levels
Hmm.
of let's say, for example, easy mode. On the physical level, could be like when your heart rate is calm and slow and steady, and your heartbeat is, like, it's in a decent pace, but it's relaxing. And that can be, for example, when you are doing a job or something. And then the opposite, when it's more on a hard mode, that's the same example where it's more rapid heartbeat. And that can be, for example, happening, of course, if you're anxious during a job interview, you
Yeah.
know?
Hmm.
And a more psychological aspect, again, easy mode and hard mode, can be, for example, a thought, a calm thought, and a slow, clear thought can be, for example, if you're journaling, you have a plenty of time to
Wait, did you
process and
say thought?
organize.
Are you saying thought?
You have a thought in your head. What
Okay,
did you hear?
it sounds like it sounds like you're saying fart.
Ah, well, brain fart. That
It
some people have that too, but other people actually have
sounds like you're saying you have a calm fart, and then you'll be in the easy place, the easy mode.
if that's easier to understand,
That's
then translate it to that.
no, I heard you say
But
it like
yeah,
3 or 4 times, and I was confused. I was like, "Wait a minute,
uh,
is he saying thought or fart?" At the end, I thought, "Oh, he thinks thought, not fart."
yeah, thought,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
thought, yeah,
Just
thought,
good clarifying there.
yeah, that's always good. So you have different thoughts, and an easy thought can be, for example, if you like.
Yeah.
You're slow and and clear thoughts. Like, I have plenty of time to process and organize my thoughts. to clear out what is this,
Yeah.
But then you can also have the opposite, right? Racing thoughts, and it's a higher speed. Brainstorming under pressure. I can't keep up. My mind is racing from one word to another. Like panicking or stuff like that. Um, uh, and again, most people have probably experienced all these kind of things. But what are most active during your day, during your week, of
Yeah.
easy mode or hard mode? The last example, from a social, behavioral point of view, an easy mode on a physical behavioral level can be, for example, that you are maybe hosting a dinner party, right? That you're excited to spend some time with people that you love and family and friends.
Hmm.
But of course, for some people, that can, of course, trigger the opposite. That can actually be hard mode for some people. But let's say that it isn't.
Depends on your
It's
family.
friends that you are comfortable with and you're actually relaxing with. Okay, perfect. That's easy mode. But it could also be a hard mode on this social behavioral example.
Yeah.
You, for example, maybe um, um, get into a certain conversations with strangers, and you are at an events that you weren't really prepared. What is this going to be like, and stuff like that? And some people need more than others to prepare for certain events, what's
Yeah.
going to be happening and who's going to come. And okay, there can be different parameters,
Yeah.
factors that can play a role for people to feel like, okay, now I can relax, I can be a little bit more, yeah, at ease,
Hmm.
So that's just to say briefly. Of course, there's many more examples, but you probably get the point. But when we see it in crypto, there's actually a lot of things that plays against you to try to actually, yeah, help yourself to actually be in easy mode. It's much more stuff that trigger you to go into hard mode and get triggered and feel very stressed. And
Yeah.
that, of course, is not very healthy in the long term at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. No, it's not. Um, and this is similar to well, you are. Do you know about polyvagal theory? Yeah. So they
Yes.
use different terms, like I think ventrovagal state for the parasympathetic, and dorsal for the. It's actually another state where you're just completely shut down, right? But that's more of a you're in a state of trauma, right? You shut down because just there's so much fear.
Yeah.
But so yeah, in as far as crypto goes, though, I think so. You can be in a actual you call it hard mode, the sympathetic state, but that also could be if you maybe you are manic too. You know that
Right.
it may feel like a lot of euphoria, but actually your nervous system is activated, your sympathetic state is activated, and you're really kind of hyped up, and it's like a sugar high or something, um, and that actually
Right.
can be a hard mode too, even though people might see that as, oh no, it's great, but you also are distracting yourself from being centered, and really using your rational, wise mind to make good decisions, and not realizing, like, if we were in an ecstatic, euphoric bull run right then, that, hey, you need to make sure you're ready to get out, though, right? Um, I've heard it said
Right.
it's like you're in the, if you're in the party, and you're in the club at nighttime, right? And everyone's having fun and a good time, but like, what, you don't know when the party's going to stop. And once
Mm.
it stops, everyone gets out at the same time. But you want to be in a good parasympathetic state so that you can make a good decision. Like, hey, I've made some profit, and the party's still going, but you know what? Maybe I get out early and make a good choice for myself, so later on I'm not crashing out, right? Um, and then you put yourself in a completely different, sympathetic state, right?
Yeah. That's the thing. People can put themselves in a hard mode and then get accustomed to that and feel like that's the comfortability that they get used to. Just
Mm-hmm.
because you get used to something doesn't mean necessarily that that's actually beneficial.
Yeah.
People can enduring pains and traumas and a lot of different other things that's not very nice and very high pressure actually, at
Yeah.
least on a physical level and then on a psychological level. But we can usually always measure it on a physical level, and yeah, if you can see it there, then most likely it is already a pressure on a psychological and behavioral level as well, on a social level.
Yeah.
And that's just a thing that I can see many people are not so much aware of. That's why I mainly work with a body awareness, actually, as one of my key methods
Mm-hmm.
when I work with clients, because it's very practical,
Yeah.
How is your breathing, Do you have like deep breathing or is it shallow breathing? That's,
Mm-hmm.
for example, a very simple and easy way to start to work with regulating yourself and measuring where are you right now.
Yeah.
You're slowly out of your mind, you're not here, you're not present because it's just, it's not safe. So you want to run away.
Yeah. Yeah.
The more
Yeah.
safe and calm you are, the more present you can be, the more relaxed you can be, and the more your breathing can also be more relaxing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when you're in the parasympathetic state, I'm sorry, the sympathetic state, and you want to get into, like you described, a more parasympathetic or easy mode where you're breathing better, you're more centered and grounded. One of the ways you can do that is through what we did in the PulseX conference with the meditation. I know that's one of the ways to go to hard to easy mode, so to speak. Um, and you said a lot of body exercises too that you engage with clients, right? In order to help them get to their parasympathetic state.
Yeah.
Um, what are some other practical, maybe very simple things that you see people can do to transition from the hard mode to easy mode?
Yeah. Um, one thing, for example, is actually to start to move slowly, as a more make slower movements.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, as we said with the other examples, there's a key thing of like what is characterizing the sympathetic, the
Mm-hmm.
hard mode.
Yeah.
Again, fight and flight and freeze, and you act fast, and everything goes faster now because it's urgency or it's like some kind of a danger.
Yeah.
So you can also trigger your body to then, if you do the reverse thing that you wouldn't normally do, if it is in hard mode as a sympathetic, where everything needs to be more, crazy and speeded up and more active. If you
Right.
slowly actually, with force, make slower movements, let's say that you do certain things, you do the dishes or whatever, try to simply do it in a more slower pace, or you take a walk, try to walk slower than you normally would, and
Yeah.
that will actually help you to also then start to notice. It's easier
Mm-hmm.
to actually observe your body signals if you also are a little bit more present. So again, back to the other example, that you're not going to be so much present if you already are very active.
Yeah. Yeah.
um
Yeah.
so the more that you allow yourself to wind down in your movements, in your thoughts, give yourself more time.
Mm-hmm.
Another key thing can be to actually, if it has to be more like actual exercise, it's actually to either like what can you say, like brush your body or clap your body,
Yeah.
because this
A little,
activates.
a
Yeah,
butterfly hug. Yeah.
yeah, this activates your senses,
Mm-hmm.
your organs, the skin
Yeah.
of the cells, and this will activate. If it's hard for you to actually sense your body and have
Mm-hmm.
contact with your body, This
Yeah.
is an easy way to activate that,
Yeah.
because in that way it can be, what can you say, your body, like sense wise
Hmm.
and noise, it gets higher for you to actually notice. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
okay, this is
Yeah.
my body, and this, what this function is actually, that it helps you, if you want to move your focus from your mind and your thoughts and all what's going on
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
down to your body. And
Yeah.
that on its own will help you to actually feel more calm. And then it will be easier to actually make slower movements.
Yeah.
And your breathing will be affected by this and everything else. And
Yeah.
thereby you can feel like, wow, it's that simple. Yes, we just forget it all the time and we
Hmm.
overcomplicate things. No, because it has to be a new thing.
Yeah.
Well, you
Yeah.
did this 3 years ago, but the thing is that the mind is going to be like this. Oh, now it's not a problem.
Right.
Ah, well, then it's going to forget, what did you use that actually worked for you? And did I even have a problem with that? Oh, I don't remember, until you move forward and now suddenly maybe comes back or whatever, a new problem. Then your mind most likely will have the tendency to like, ah, okay, how do you solve this? Like, we haven't solved this ever before, even though maybe you have.
Yeah.
What if you actually start to write down the tools and exercise that you already learned and you did in the past, so you don't have to relearn it from scratch and take new tools that will take more brain power, more energy
Yeah.
for you to learn, instead of just pulling your old toolbox.
Yeah.
That will save you time and energy, and you can directly know from the past experience. You have evidence that, oh yeah,
Hmm.
meditation, for example, I used to do that in the past. Oh yeah, that actually really, it was very supportive and worked really well in these kind of situation. Maybe I should just go back to that.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
Simple.
What would you say?
I think just piggyback off that, one thing that I do that helps remind me of things, interventions, and things I've done in the past is if I put it on the calendar, or I put a reminder on my clock that goes off every day, and it says, "Remember, do this." And I actually have some stuff like that. Or if I put on the calendar, like, here's the, I'm gonna go to the beach today. I'm gonna go take a walk or something or whatever it is. Then I remind myself of that thing. Um, so whatever it takes, I'm not always. I'm not rigidly organized with every part of my day, and some people are. So I need something that's going to remind me to do this. Or a lot of times, if it's something that works really well, I won't have to. It'll just be like my body remembers, like, oh yeah, I want to do this very nice thing. Um, but it's a really good point, though. It's kind of like when I go to a restaurant and I really like the food there, then I don't and I haven't been there before, and it's not part of my normal habitual places to eat. Then a lot of times I'll forget how good it was. Be like, and
Yeah.
then I'll go a long time and I won't go back to that place. I'm like, what's that place? Like, there's a good place and I don't remember what it was. And then it'll come back to me like months later, be like, oh yeah, we went to this really good place. And I'll totally forget about it. I'll be like, I need to remember, I have to put this in my rotation of places to eat here because it was that good. So that happens. And I think a lot of times that just has to do with the overstimulation there is everywhere in life, whatever it is, people, social media, just driving down the street, there's, at least around here where I'm at, billboards everywhere, signs everywhere, look over here, it's crazy. So it's hard to keep attention on just about anything for too long, just
Yeah.
because there's so much grabbing your attention. And if you're like me and you have a family, you have a life, it's like, yeah, there's a lot that you have to juggle, so easy to forget that. And then also too, I think maybe some people are. Maybe you're familiar too with EMDR. Daniel, are you familiar with that?
Oh yeah, the rapid eye movement.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So when I did the training for that, one of the things that they did was what you did. They call it butterfly hug, but you go in like this, right? And then there's a
Okay.
there's a calming to it when you do it enough times, and
Mm.
it,
And only
it's
on the
called,
chest,
yeah, you go like this on the shoulders, basically
on the
like this.
shoulders. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and if you do it long enough, you know that you feel a little bit more calm and centered if you do it. And I think it's called a butterfly hug, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's no one else around, so this is interventions you do on your own. But
Mm-hmm.
the idea is the same as the when you do the eye movements. It's you're triggering the right and left hemisphere of your brain. So they call it bilateral stimulation. But basically, it just is your way of processing whatever is going on in the moment right now and bringing yourself back to the body, um, which I think is the probably the thing we forget the most because of, like I said, the overstimulation of our society. And what that does, it doesn't necessarily always stimulate our body, but our brains are always stimulated because we're thinking different things. Anxiety is up here with the spinning, racing thoughts, like you said. And, um, you watching whatever on the screen, you know, your body isn't really a lot of times experiencing much, but it's here though. You're looking at it, you're thinking about it, you're processing it up here. Maybe, every now and then emotions get triggered when you're watching a show or something, but for the most part, a lot of our existence is lived in our thoughts in here and detached from the rest of the body, right? Because the rest of the body is we sit down, we're not doing much, we're not moving, right? So I think the important thing is to come back to our existence is not lived through thoughts we have inside of us. That is not the whole of life. That is not everything. And when you live that way, it's hard to see, well, what do you mean my body? What does that have to do with anything? You know, why is that important? Like, don't I just go to the doctor? Well, there's a lot of times I've seen a lot of clients. They go to the doctor and they have a physical issue, and it has nothing to do with anything medical. It's there's something psychologically going on, and their body has been neglected for so long that they don't realize that whatever's going on with their body is connected to what's going on, all the thoughts in their mind and the anxiety that they're having. And so when you can do things like doing the butterfly hug, you can, like you say, you go out for a walk, you slow down your body movements intentionally. You suggested that. And one way to do that is through focusing, just starting with focusing on your breath, feeling it go in, feeling your body expand, feeling it contract, feeling it come out, like really just focusing on the sensation of the whole process, right? That's one way to start that. But that connects you back with your physical and even your energy, your spiritual nature too. Because a lot of that manifests through stuff in the body, like our whole experience is basically we're trapped in this physical, you know, and carcass here, and so everything that happens is within here typically, unless you are astral projection and you flying somewhere,
Mm.
which that's a whole nother thing. But um, so coming back to the body and realizing that physical and emotional sensations and other energy experienced in the body is just as important as all the overstimulation in here that's causing so much anxiety and triggering the sympathetic system, the hard mode, and trying to bring your existence back to more than just that. There's more to my experience than what I think my experience is, what my thoughts tell me it is. Does that make
Mm.
sense?
Yeah. For example, again with the easy mode and hard mode, um, are you your own ally? Are you your own enemy?
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you have like a kind and supportive inner self-talk? Like, for example, do you notice tension and respond with physical self-soothing? And psychologically, do you maybe replace, I messed up with, okay, I'm learning? Like, how can you be your own ally, And for example, write down 3 small wins each day or 3 things that you're grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to the hard mode, you have rough and judgmental inner self talk, which is funny enough when you think about the word judgmental, it's a mental judge. You
Mm-hmm.
are your own worst mental judge.
Mm-hmm.
And you are trying to be, yeah, you're not maybe not even trying, but you're supposed to be your own defender, but you're more your own prosecutor and your worst judge, or very
Yes.
harsh
Yes.
judge,
Yeah.
and that's the thing, that's going to impact your body as well. That doesn't really make you more ease.
Yeah.
Quite the contrary. That's going to create more tension
Mm-hmm.
and pressure on you, also mentally. So how can you catch your inner critic, early, and then replace it with a guiding voice or some kind of supportive
Yeah.
direction, and at least maybe write down your judgmental thoughts and rewriting them. But the start is simply to start to noticing that it's happening,
Yeah.
because that's the thing, again, it's simply small invitation to slowly observe and check, like in a game, how many things in your settings in your life is on hard mode or
Yeah.
medium or on easy mode. Does
Yeah.
everything really needs to be on hard mode, or is it maybe okay that some of it is on medium or even easy mode?
Yeah. Yeah. So let me ask you this, as I want to go down the mental judge, the judgmental rabbit hole a little bit here. Uh, what is the state that you're in when they're the inner critic, or I like to call the inner Nazi sometimes, when they're present, being critical, judgmental, mental judge? What is the nervous state that you're in?
What is what you say?
What's the
You're
nervous
nervous?
state? The state like the hard mode. You say hard mode, easy mode. What when you
Hmm.
have the inner critic, judgmental? What's
Yeah.
the state that you're in? That
Well, if we go back to what characterizing the sympathetic, the heart mode,
hmm
that is exactly that is sort of like a fight or flight or freeze. That's usually get triggered of something that is potentially a danger, something that is not an ally, more
Yeah,
like an enemy or a
yeah,
Nazi, you could say, something that is going to not do any good, right? Right? It's
yeah,
like the same thing when we talk about placebo effect and nocebo effect.
yeah.
Nocebo effect actually means, from Latin, something along the lines of like doing harm, where
hmm
placebo is actually the opposite, doing something good, to yourselves, towards yourself. So you take a pill, you
Yeah,
hear from your doctor that this pill is going to cure you.
yeah.
Oh, if you really believe that, that psychological effect is going to have a very big impact, also
Self
on
fulfilling.
the pill, even though maybe it's just a vitamin pill, but you don't know that. But you really
Yeah,
think this doctor's telling me that with this condition I have, this is going to really have a big impact. But if you don't believe the doctor and you
yeah,
then think, um, I think it's going to do the opposite, it's going to hurt me, even though, again, let's say it's still the same vitamin pill,
Yeah.
This psychological effect, and there's plenty of studies of this, you can look it up. Placebo effect definitely has an effect and it works, but nocebo effect, the opposite, also works. So
Yeah.
you can actually impact your environment of your cells across the whole body. You can see it has a big business. You
Yeah.
are the CEO of billions of small minions that are actually trying to help you. They're trying to
Yeah.
work with you. You know, they're dying and they're getting born every day just because of you. But if you're thinking, has the boss, it's a terrible and annoying body, and it's
Yeah.
irritating, you know,
Yeah.
they're hearing it. All
Yeah.
these employees, they the nervous system is the direct phone line without you knowing it. Maybe. Oh,
Yeah.
I should have forgot to I forgot to not push the button so all the employees can hear me what I'm actually thinking about them. Well, there is not that really that button. It doesn't exist.
Not inside. No.
Uh, all not inside.
Yeah.
All the cells listen to what you're saying.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
You know, that's interesting. The this idea and the negative placebo too. Um,
yeah, no Sable.
so I will catch myself sometimes, and this is a good example because this is happening to me lately, where I've had my you call it sciatica here. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but basically, there's a nerve that runs from your lower back, and when the nerve gets pinched or damaged or something, you can feel it all the way from your lower back all the way down your leg, right? And it's called the sciatic nerve. Um, and so mine has flared up recently, and it's one of those things when it flares up, it's a sharp pain, like stabbing, like someone's stab. It's not a dull pain, it's very hard to every movement you have to plan out. You have to think ahead. Like, oh, if I sit this too fast, then I'm gonna, I'm gonna re-aggravate it. And so, but every now and then I catch myself and I say, my fucking leg, god damn it, or something like that. And I curse at my leg. And then I catch myself and I say, you know what? And this might help for all of you, but I catch myself, I say, you know what? My leg didn't do this. My leg did not ask for this, right? I'll use your example. My leg is one of my minions, maybe, right? My leg didn't want this pain. In fact, the pain that's there didn't ask to be there. So something happened, and I don't know what. Some injury, maybe, or something else. I don't know. Maybe there's some nutrient in my body I need that I forgot. I don't know. I have no idea. But it's not my leg's fault. It's not my pain's fault, right? But so often, I think all of us, and myself included, I will curse at it. I will be upset and angry. And as you said, everyone's listening. My leg's listening. The pain is listening. Everything's listening. And then I realized later, okay, but what good is that actually doing for me to be angry at my leg or my back, to be angry at the pain? How does that make my pain go away? No, it doesn't. It doesn't make my pain go away. Does it make it heal better? Does it change anything? It doesn't. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't change anything. All it does is it makes me more upset, frustrated with myself, and I feel more unhappy with the world. My sympathetic state is activated. I'm in hard mode, right? And you can imagine, like, if I'm in the day, and or if I'm at working, I'm seeing clients. That doesn't make me better as a therapist.
Mm.
That doesn't make me more in the present moment, other than with how much I hate my leg, my pain. But me focusing on that doesn't help me help somebody else I'm with, or to
Mm.
be clear in the moment, to be grounded. So in lots of ways, pain is just one of them, but in lots of ways, um, I think we can direct our anger with not being happy with the way things are, with whatever it is in life, and to other parts of ourself, which, as you say, they're listening though. And if you think about it like that, and a lot of people don't, they think this is woo woo and, like craziness. Like there's only one you. No, there's lots of parts of you,
but
and they are listening. And they don't have
here,
ears, but they
but
take the message.
here's a hot take. What do you think your thought is? That could potentially be cells communicating with each other.
Right. Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
shouldn't that be possible happening for the rest of your body? Why should it only go for here? Maybe some of the information, the phone lines, actually
Mhm.
also come further down,
Right.
from the
Right.
rest of
Yeah.
your
The
body.
neurotransmitters are firing in a familiar way.
Exactly.
They know. Like, oh, yes. Used to that. We're used to that. Um, that's Brandon's common pattern of talking to himself. I think most of the time most people probably are not even aware of the thought they have. They're just in that moment, in that state, and they don't have a second thought as to, oh, what am I projecting out to the rest of myself, or my cells or whatever. And to take it even further, you think, well, okay, if I was, let's say, my cells, my pain, my leg, if they were listening to me, how would they feel with the way I talk to them? do
Well, you
they
can come
do
back
they
to
want to do
again.
they want to do good do they want to help me, or do they want to tell me like, hey, uh that's not cool, I didn't do nothing wrong?
Yes, yeah, because I mean, again, you can to your
Right.
question, go back to like what was it that sympathetic,
Yeah.
that the heart mode, as a
Yeah.
speeds things up, alarm, action mode, fight and flight, or freeze.
Yeah.
What emotion do you think that maybe is going to activate that mechanism? Well, that could be anger, frustration, irritation, things that seems like, oh, now I'm not going to really want to do anything pleasant. I more likely feel like vibing the energy of like wanting to harm you, right?
Yeah.
I can see Danielle actually writing,
Yeah.
that's probably on the X, on Twitter. Anger feeds anger. Neural circuits strengthen, cortisol raises, and so on. Your leg example is very accurate.
That's right. Cortisol raises. Yep. Yep.
So
Absolutely.
everything can traces back to the physical aspect if you want it to be less woo-woo and very concrete and measurable.
Yeah.
But everything is a dynamic back and forward, for the mind and the emotions and whatnot.
Yeah.
And that will eventually spiral into your behavior as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And this, I think this really does fit in with crypto and people. And you say a lot, staying human, as I really do like that. Because I think there's so much, we're like living in a digital world. In a digital world, we're experiencing through our eyes, maybe our ears. It's all mostly here, though. We're experiencing it, cerebrally. And I think for the most part, people don't even give a second thought to their body, so they're we're not seeing it as, I need to be nice to my body, I need to respect my body and appreciate, or even be acknowledging and aware of it, that in that we could actually heal ourselves and do ourselves a big favor just by acknowledging that our body is a part of who we are. And it's not just like, oh, I wish my wouldn't have this pain, I wish I wouldn't have this, and why am I feeling this, like I wish that would just go away so I can focus on whatever is on the computer screen, you know. So if we did, though, we would be more human, and we would treat ourselves as we would want to treat. And this is what kills me, is the way we treat other people. We never treat ourselves that way. We're always much harder and much more critical and angrier at ourselves than we are to other people. We would never talk to other people the way we talk to ourselves, because if we did, we would have zero friends. That nobody would want to be with us.
Exactly.
Nobody would. Everyone would hate us. So what makes us think we're going to have a good, happy life, be in our parasympathetic state, if we hate ourselves and we talk to ourselves like, we just can't do anything right, or why the fuck is my body doing this? And, so it's just interesting that we don't naturally, at least maybe in the Eastern world is a little bit different, but Western world, I don't think we give our body the respect and the energy we have inside us, the respect it needs, and the awareness.
Yeah, I think so. That you're right. Yeah, and just to shortly clarify, but this is actually exactly also why I usually use the words easy mode and hard mode instead of the more physiological and more academic terms, because people tend to mix up the words anyway.
Yeah.
Like I just noticed it has happened from time to time, but it's I don't mind. It's perfectly natural. But like the sympathetic is the hard mode, and the
Yeah.
parasympathetic is the easy mode.
Yeah.
But it was just to say that because
What
again,
do
to
we
stay
call?
human, how can we
Yeah.
keep it simple? How can we see our organism has, as you also came with the example, right?
Yeah.
That it can be our own friends or a family, because it is literally the closest
Yeah.
relationship you have
Right.
is to yourself on
Right.
a physical level, to billions of minions and hopefully not Nazis.
Yeah.
So how can you be a little bit more, um, yeah,
Yeah.
easy, more
Easy mode.
collaborative, and more understanding? And
Yeah.
that's the thing, the more that you start to maybe understand why is it my leg hurting, or like certain nerves get activated, is the nervous system maybe trying to call me. What is it is trying to say?
Right.
I am I maybe overcompensating, putting too much pressure. It can also be like a physical thing, like, oh, during my work, I have actually very poor work posture, which is
Mm-hmm.
going to put more pressure on
Mm.
other muscles,
Mm-hmm.
other muscle groups, and then other muscle groups can relax too much. So that's
Yeah.
the thing. It's a balance. I'm not saying necessarily, oh, but I cannot just have my life on easy mode and everything, then nothing will get done.
Yeah.
Exactly. Sure. That's why you should just try to review your current state. Is everything on hard mode? Well, maybe that should be some adjustments. Is everything on easy mode? Well, maybe there should be some adjustments.
Right. Right.
So it goes
Right.
both ways.
Yeah. What do you call the dorsal mode when you just shut down? Do you have a term for that?
The dorsal mode.
Yeah. So you have the sympathetic, parasympathetic, which is easy, hard mode. I get that.
Right.
The dorsal mode is kind of like the freeze mode, like you shut down mode. Like, what would be an example? If you, let's say you have, we'll
What is
do
triggered by the sympathetic,
crypto.
the hard mode, so that will go under the same category in my book,
Yeah.
because that's
I
still
mean,
kind of hard, right? How are you going to do anything? Now you're frozen.
yeah.
How, how are you going to take the next action?
It's
That's
more.
not easy.
Yeah. 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 So it's like, let's say if you have, I think the dorsal mode would be activated maybe if you, let's say you had crypto bags, and in the bull market it goes up very high. You made, say, a lot of
Right.
money, and then
Mm.
you waited too long to take a profit, and it goes all the way back down, and you lose most of everything that you gained.
Mm.
then you might experience maybe a bit of a trauma there, right? And instead of just staying in parasympathetic calm state, you go to, it's kind of like detachment. I would say it's like that, because parasympathetic easy mode is calm, you're centered, you're grounded, you're in the moment. Dorsal is more of you're detached, you've shut down, you just experienced the trauma, you're frozen, right? Kind of like that. So if that happened, then I don't know what you call that mode, but that would be a lot trickier to get out of.
Right.
And
And
that would
usually just
definitely
kind of,
take more
yeah, go on.
body awareness and everything too. But yeah, go ahead.
Right. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it was just to say that that's why it's a lot of this work should be more seen as a more preventative work,
Mm-hmm.
because that will eventually um, make it so you don't going into these scenarios. But this scenario that you're speaking of is still triggered and is under the same category as the sympathetic as a hard mode, which was categorized as the fight and flight or freeze mode. So some animals does this as well, you know.
Yeah.
They either just, what is it? There's an animal, I don't know what's it called in English, but it tends to actually its go to. I think it's in the Ice Age movie, the animation movies, where
Yeah.
they just usually die or pretend to die.
Yeah.
That's their survival mode, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. They should, when they're in a life-threatening situation and they play dead, a lot
Yeah,
of times that's actually they can escape because the predator thinks they've already got the kill and they're gone. And then sometimes they
yeah,
when the predator is not looking, then they run off. They did because the predator doesn't realize, oh, it's not dead. It was just playing dead really good. Um,
exactly.
but yeah, interesting. Very
So it's
interesting.
the same. It's the same reaction. It's the same state that we're working with, as when we talk about it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I will still say that it's under the hard mode because again, for
Yeah.
example, in this situation that we just gave an example of, that's still life or death scenario. That's not an easy situation to be in. It's a very
It's
high
like,
risk and high
yeah,
reward. You know.
it's kind of like if things can't be resolved in a fight or flight mode, right? In the
Right.
sympathetic system, um, then it goes to the freeze mode where you just shut down completely. So that would be that state, and that's just part of like the polyvagal theory. I've read, I've done some what's it called, educational classes on and stuff. But I'd like to find easy terms like you have easy hard mode, maybe black mode or shutdown mode or something as one. But
Right.
yeah, it's I think this is really good just to make people aware of that you can do things to self-regulate intentionally to switch into easy mode. When you're in hard mode, even in black mode, it's a little bit harder, but you still can do it, you know.
Mm.
Um, and that people need to know that they're not stuck. But there's a lot of factors involved with it. But if we could focus on the body and become aware, then I think that does help a lot for sure. Um,
Yeah, and just like I can see in the comment, Daniela is commenting as well that yeah, the sympathetic system is good. We need it because we could not live without it. The problem is that we have it overworked in current society. We use it for silly things instead of actual survival situation like the rest of the mammals. So yeah, that's a good point. That
yeah,
also what you talked about, Brandon. We have so much stimulation today that that's
right,
actually going to activate the heart mode.
right,
The nervous system is going to be um, overactive
Yeah.
without actually really the need for it.
Right.
And that's going to be much more stressful and going to actually make a toll on your
Yeah.
body if you are in that state for too
That's true.
long. That's why
That's
it's
true.
very important to actually plug off as
Yeah.
a go offline, and it can be hard because when you're in crypto and compared to the stock market that actually is closing, um, it's not open 24/7, but crypto is.
Yeah.
And if it's very hard for you to regulate yourself and you
Yeah.
like become like a kid in a candy shop,
Yeah.
it becomes like an addiction, right? Because
Oh, yeah.
more wants more, and I can also do this, I can also do that, and you know, so you become like what I'm also calling, you become into, you activate your hunt mode. So that's actually also the hard mode because again, hunting is not easy. You can get killed, but you can also kill an animal. Can you
Mhm.
get your prey, or can you not? Or do you become the prey? you know.
We
Um,
are seeing the background here. We are the monkey.
Yeah,
We are not the.
exactly. Speaking of prey, yeah, and that's actually from Richard Hart's post. If you
Yeah.
guys are not aware, you can look
Uh-huh.
it up. Yeah,
Yeah. It's such a visceral reaction that the picture gives. Yeah,
yeah,
Daniela is, it's a good point because what it made me think is how um, broadly defined trauma is right now, where when we think something is a trauma, we're activating that the sympathetic state. But if traumas are, hey, this celebrity said this thing, or this politician said this thing, and I didn't like it, it doesn't agree with my beliefs, I'm traumatized, I just experienced a microaggression, then it's like this. That to me is one of those silly things. Like, you're gonna activate your fight or flight mode over what somebody says, over words, you know um
right.
like, there's a lot of I don't know, there's a lot of carefulness that,
Mm,
if you don't say the right things,
yeah,
then you've been aggressive, you've traumatized somebody or something, and it's like,
right,
that's
right.
just not the meaning of trauma. The meaning of it is just so different now. It's like a buzzword, and
Mm,
you just cry wolf. That's what you're doing. Like, that's not a these aren't traumas. Those aren't life threatening. There's actual life threatening stuff when your life is threatened, you know
right.
but
Yes.
yeah, go ahead.
It's a good point because I mean, um, it's almost like there's a prestige or status
Mm-hmm.
if you say, "Oh, I'm very stressed." Yeah, instead of saying like I'm busy, I have maybe a little bit too much to do right now.
Yeah.
No, it seems a little bit more status and important if you just say, "Oh, I'm kind of yeah, I think I'm a little bit stressed right now, currently
Yeah.
in my life." Well, if you were stressed, that's actually very seriously,
Yeah.
and the same like you say, "Oh, yeah, I was a little bit traumatized about this that you said." No, you're maybe offended, but you're not going to die because you get offended. Um, and that's kind of important also because I mean, if we don't learn that to especially the new generation, um, I
Yeah.
for example just heard the other day that apparently the emoji thumbs up.
Okay.
You know that emoji?
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, the young generation, I saw a post the other day. They apparently there was like an article that was from Denmark, showed that they were starting to take that as a little bit as a passive aggression. If people mainly only use that as
Mm.
a not many times, but just
Right.
that's the and I know that's for example my um, parents' generation. They tend to use this and no other emojis. Um, but I don't find that as a passive aggression, but like somehow, and I'm just saying if it's starting to become a sport on what can we get offended of, I mean, we're going to be very fragile then, because then we're going to learn our nervous system and our
Yeah.
focus. That's what we're
Yeah.
going to also need to be aware of, that can be potentially be something triggering negatively for us. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a slippery
Well,
slope.
yeah. Yeah. Well, and you create a baseline for yourself where your
Exactly.
normal everyday life is more in hard mode, sympathetic. And that's like, that's a miserable life to live. That's a very hard life if you are in hard mode, sympathetic mode. So, yeah,
Right.
I agree with you. There's being offended, having normal everyday adversity in life is something you just have to. I mean, you have to be flexible. You have to be able to take it in and then adjust and move in back into parasympathetic easy mode. You know,
Mm.
otherwise, life is just becomes a big trauma, and it's like, how are you going to do anything in life? How are you going to enjoy life?
Yeah.
How are you going to be happy at all? It's like impossible. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, like I'm looking out. Was a window right here, and I could see
Mm-hmm.
this street, the traffic, and it reminds me
Mm-hmm.
of when I'm driving in California, driving Southern California. It's like a war zone. When you're driving around, people are crazy. They'll cut you off. They'll give you, you're number one, um,
I
which is
see.
passive aggressive, but
Mm.
or they're angry. You don't go fast enough. You didn't do this, whatever. Like, it's just so much anger. Sometimes it's rage, stress, whatever. But this is every day though. If I wake up every day and I drive to work, and every day I'm like, oh, man, it's a trauma. It's, like, no, this is what happens every day. And people don't mean it's just the way it is. It's not even personal
Yeah.
to me. No, people don't even give a shit who's in the car. They
Mm-hmm.
only care that, like, I need to get to where I need to get to. You did something that made, my life more inconvenient, and so you know screw yourself. And it's like, okay, but that's an offense. That's not a trauma. you know
Mm.
Unless they run me off the road, get out of their car, pull a gun on me. All right, well, that's different. But normal everyday stuff, like, that's just
Mm.
how it is. So you have to be able to um, take that in and then move back into easy mode. You can't sit with that as like, this is a big trauma that happened to me today, and now the whole week is, or my whole month or whatever.
Mm.
Um, yeah. So get back into easy mode.
Yeah, or at least start to be curious about what could potentially feed my easy mode,
Hmm.
or a little bit more hard mode if you are too easy and relaxed and nothing really happens, like it's a balance. But for
Hmm.
most people, like you're also portraiting and you're observing, it tends to be not that's really the problem. It's more the problem that people have all the settings, again, like in
Yeah.
the game,
Yeah.
mainly on hard mode. And
Yeah.
they tend to be even more harder towards themselves, their inner self talk and inner observation towards their own behavior and whatnot,
Yeah.
rather than others.
Hmm.
So, so you could even say that if we have to come back full circle with like, okay, what? All these cells are minions and they can hear what I'm saying. Like what? They have a phone aligned to all the part of my body. What? That
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Well, if we scale it up on a society level, and what you're observing right now, what you're describing, let's say that the majority of those people actually have mainly heart mode activated. Also, when it comes to their inner self talk, they're not really their own allies, they're more their own enemies.
Hmm.
Well, in that way, we can kind of see, has micro, has macro,
Hmm.
as we can see within, we will be able to see without as well.
Yeah.
So if we are starting to slowly change that, in trying to be curious about how we can feed our inner easy mode, shift different stuff, then maybe if more people do that, we maybe see our observation in society will be different as well, you know?
Absolutely.
And just like we can see there's a comment here as well. People is not aware of the role they play in their own unhappiness. Yeah, good point. I heard it like in a podcast the other day because often Denmark, for example, tends to often get known as like, oh, but it's the happiest country, is it? Isn't it? I often get asked this. But then I heard in this podcast, they also talked about this question. Then one of the guests said, well, I mean, we have to remember you can still be unhappy and sad in a happy country, you know?
Hmm.
That's still
Yeah.
possible. You can still choose to be very unsatisfied and not really very, you know, compelling by your
Well,
own
yeah.
circumstance.
I mean, and how do you, yeah, that I have questions. How do you define happiness then? And how is a country overall happy, right?
That's a
Uh,
good point. That was actually what the podcast was talking about,
yeah,
and one of the first thing he was saying was like we have to be clear that there is a difference of happiness and life quality. So I will more say
yeah,
Denmark is very comfortable. The resources and the structure is there for people to be able to be comfortable. That doesn't necessarily mean that they actually are happy,
right.
because I mean, we also tend to be very high in the ranks when it comes to alcohol and intake of pills. Even our depression pills are actually called happy pills.
I was
Officially,
gonna
that's the
say now
label.
I know why they're happy. They have so many medications.
And
Yeah,
alcohol, yeah.
yeah.
So I will more say like that there is a high comfortability as a we can be very comfortable. But
Hmm.
again, then back to like that tends to maybe be more towards the easy mode then, maybe too much,
Yeah,
and then nothing much happens, you know? So
yeah.
that's the thing. If you get too comfortable, well, why should you bother? Why should you do anything, right? So back to your question, just to answer that quickly. I really like that he talked about that. Well, happiness, you know, like true serenity or like happiness is usually very subjective and very shortly and enjoyable when you just are there, when you're present, you know. But it's usually not there for long and then it's gone, you know. And it
Yeah.
just comes when you least expect it, usually, you know, when you least worry, actually. That's how he described it. And then he said life quality is much more objective and much more long term. There's a lot of factors that can be at play that can facilitate and thereby create an environment that you most likely are going to have good quality of life, you know? Like, for
Mhm.
example, in Denmark, free education, hospitals, libraries, and whatnot. So there's a lot of support. We even get money to actually study. We don't have to pay for education in the same way, like I know in US, for example. It sounds like totally opposite land when I say this, but that's some of the aspect where we can see, wow, that's definitely easy mode compared to US, where you are most likely going to be in debt, right? In a very big way if you want to take an occasion.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, yeah, even life quality can
Mm.
be subjective because you can, like you said, is that if is that about how much debt you have? Is life quality about the weather? Is it how big your house is? Is it your level of freedom? Is it how much government subsidized programs you have access to? There's you can define quality of life depending on what you want your life to be about, what you enjoy in life, how you want your lifestyle to be. But yeah, I like to see it as we all have our own self autonomy, freedom to choose, ideally to choose the life that we want to live, but you have to be, I think, in easy sympathetic, parasympathetic mode to be able to um, get to that place. You got to start in that mode. If you don't start in easy mode, you're not going to know what truly what you want in life to have the quality that you value, you
Mm.
know, from your own life experience and everything. You can only figure that out in easy mode, in parasympathetic mode. So yeah, it's a good place to be, and just to be aware, like let's try to be there more. Try to be in easy mode. Um,
Yeah, or at least try to give yourself some opportunities where you can
yeah,
maybe get into that small rooms in your daily life. Because sure, I can hear the audience maybe will say some of them like, yeah, that's easier said than done. Like
of
with
course.
what you just described. Just from your view from your window where you're sitting, that
Yeah.
doesn't really sound like, oh, but how am I even going to get that being activated in those circumstances? That doesn't really seem likely.
Hmm.
Well, surely there must be some spaces or environments during your day where, okay, here I could maybe choose to just stay for a few moments extra just because to give myself a break.
Yeah.
Like people do that all the time, right? When the first thing you see the often TV shows and whatnot. Homer Simpson, he has to go to Moe's before he had to go to the family because
Yeah.
he needs his break, right? He needs to get away from something, right? So that's his trying to cope with that
Yeah. Yeah.
and get into the more relaxed state. But people have their ways, of
Yeah.
thinking what is actually a break. But what
Yes.
is also an escape? So that's the thing, right? You might think this is going to be relaxing, but it's actually a disguise of you escaping from something that is unpleasant.
That's true.
So
A break and an escape, people sometimes conflate based on what their convenience in the moment is. But uh,
exactly.
yeah. Anyways, I got to get going, man.
Yeah. It was
This
nice
has
talking
been
to you.
very. I know we could talk for a very long time. I think, Daniel, we could be here for a long time.
Yeah. And thank you,
We'll
Daniela, for pitching in with the
Danielle
comments.
pitch in. You feel free to join in too. Um, and then what we're gonna have to do is because
Yeah.
now when the next meditation that I do, it's not going to feel complete unless I have you right in the corner, and
Yeah.
you will be in the moment meditating. I think that adds so much to it. So
Okay.
you'll have to do that for the next time. And yeah, I think that's fun, and also if people actually listen to it, you get something out of it too.
Yeah, that will help too.
Yeah.
That's a
Well,
good idea. It's a good cliffhanger for the next episode, next live stream.
yeah,
And where can people find you?
we'll do
Oh,
the
they probably
same.
already found you.
They
But yeah.
found they found yeah, Free Brandon 7 on YouTube and X, and you're at the same places, right? X and YouTube.
Yeah. Joyful
Absolutely.
Danish on YouTube and
Joyful
X.
Danish. Very good, my friend. Good talking to you, and we will do this again soon.
Let's do
And
that.
yeah, we will go out in easy mode, everybody. We go out in easy mode. Take care, y'all.
Take care.